Good morning, everyone. My name is Stacy Turner. Welcome to our DMOpro Zoom. We're so happy to have you joining us. And today we're going to have a continued conversation from last week when we started sort of at the end of the call talking about closing the sale or how to help people. You've shared the information with them. And then now at this point, how do we help them actually get started with Juice Plus and or whatever product you're selling? And I just want to encourage you to remember pretty much, everything we do in life has some aspect to selling, not just with our businesses, but selling your kids on getting them to do their chores or, just your spouse to eat this dinner that you've made for them, or whatever it is. There's a lot of aspects of life that have to do with selling. And if you think back to other jobs that you've had, careers that you've had, there were selling aspects to that as well. And I know I was a dental assistant prior to kids, and so we were selling them on brushing their teeth more regularly and flossing. Your hygienist definitely sells you on that every time you go. So there's a lot of things within life that have to do with sales, and yet some people are just so afraid of being salesy. So I want you to think about, what don't you like about being, or what is it in your mind that you think about, I don't want to be a salesperson. So I'm going to open it up to you guys right now. Tell me, what is it that you don't like about a salesperson, or maybe an experience where you've had to where you're just like, that was a terrible experience. I never want to be like that. Does anyone have any experience or just any thoughts on what we don't like about sales or salespeople?
I do. Hi.
Hi.
I think what I don't want people to, I would love people to see me as somebody who's caring and cares about them as a person and their health and their well-being. But I've certainly had people that were involved in selling something where I feel like the only reason they contact me, have anything to do with me, is because they're trying to get me to buy something from them. And it's such a turnoff. It just really is kind of offensive and hurtful. And I think I never want people to see me in that light, or to see me coming and think, oh boy, here we go. So that's my thing.
Yes.
Stacy,
Sure.
I'd love to go because I had a situation. It was funny because she's a dental hygienist. I fell in love with her, just good energy, fun, just beautiful. And I've stayed in touch with her. She got on the product, but because of where she lived, it took forever and she got frustrated. It ended up, they shipped it to her for free. So I've been making sure she gets the product, she's going to stay consistent on it. I just reached out to her last night saying that, you should be ready. So this is where that feeling pushy. She said, I just ordered a bunch of packets of vitamins because it was so much easier. And she goes, I don't like the automatic ship. And I don't like that if I don't do your guys' program, I lose friends, because that's what's happened with, she named a bunch of different companies. And so it just really made me realize, for customer care is our key. We have to become a good, relationship builder and follow up and make sure we know when people's product is shipping, because that's what turns people off. And I think that's what turns people off of the business too.
Yes, so good. You guys said some really good things there. So the first one was mentioned of basically the overall arching is, I don't want to be sold something that I don't want just to help you build a business, right? Have you guys gotten a text message from somebody that says, I'm this many sales away from reaching this sales goal? And, I hate those, because it's not about, hey, here's, we've had this discussion, and I remember you said you weren't liking your mascara, and here's our mascara. Would you like to try this mascara? It was really about what goal they were trying to work on, and it wasn't about me personally. So I think that's super important. There's got to be a relationship built in before you get to a close anyway. Right? So the relationship to even, sharing what the product is. And then Patty, you talking about, the in between, whereas a customer that we help them have a good experience, but again, it's their good experience, right? You don't get a customer right when you get the order. That's not the end that's not closing the sale and then you've got that deal and then we move on. If you want to keep that customer, you have to make sure they have a good experience. So it goes back to them again. What is it that they're wanting? How do you help them reach their goal? What is it that they're looking for? What is the need that they have? That's in the beginning of the conversation, but that still continues on as the customer meeting that need well leads to a team member. So excellent points from both of you. Does anyone else want to share? Maybe an experience for those that just hopped on, experience with someone that's just not been a good sales person, something you're concerned about, at least you said, you don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, here comes Stacy, like she's going to talk to me about this again. We are concerned with that. So being more authentic. Anyone want to share something?
I know one thing that I've done in the past is, especially with my closest friends who are Juice Plus customers, when I do my customer care with them, because it's like a fine line. And my husband's a pastor, so also being in the church, I don't want people to think like, oh, she's taking advantage of, people in the church or whatever. And so I went in doing customer care with people who are close to me. I always either start the text or the conversation, if it's a phone call, like, hey, I've got my Juice Plus hat on. I'm just calling to let you know your order's about to ship, or I'm calling to let you know, or to check in on you. Is there anything that you need or anything else? And I always try to start that way, just to let them know, like, okay, I'm working right now, but then, we'll finish that piece of work and then I can just talk, as their friend or whatever else the conversation leads to. And then when we are like just in casual conversation, or I see them in public or whatever, I always start with, how are you, like finding out how they're doing, and not even talking Juice Plus or anything unless they bring it up. And that's the same for when we first moved out here. It was 9 years ago, and my husband is a brand new pastor in this church, and I waited until people asked me, what do you do, before I ever said a word about Juice Plus to anybody. And that may be right or wrong, I don't know, but it saved me a lot of heartache in making friendships and having people think that was all I was about, was, making a sale or whatever. And I just waited till people asked what I did. And then I kind of shared, I work with a company that's, Juice Plus, fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And this is what it's done for our family. So I try to lead with letting them know my initial intent, and then move on with our friendship outside of that.
Yeah, that's a great one. I love that. Hey, I've got my Juice Plus hat on, I'm just calling to, and then they know that that's where the conversation is going to go. I also like how you talked about really being able to engage with them, Julie, like you're engaging in their life too, not just Juice Plus, and we've got to have well-rounded conversations with people so that they do connect with us, because people buy from people that they like, they know, and they trust. And so how can we build that into them, into those relationships and connections? And having moved so many times across the country, I totally get that. Like, you're in this kind of odd spot. Like, I want to let people know what I'm doing, but there's more to me than just this, because I want them to see my heart first. My heart is for them. And I think that's true for any conversation that we're having. We want, them to see our heart first. And in that, it's because we've listened to them, we've asked questions, we've engaged with them, we found what the need is, we offer that solution. So thank you guys for sharing. I'll open up one more person. Does anyone else want to share?
I'll share one quick thing.
Hey, Lisa, I'm sorry, love, but you're breaking up.
Last week I called the customer, and oops, is that better?
No, I'm
Can
sorry.
you hear me now?
Okay, try
Oops, I guess
again.
not. Never mind. I guess you can't hear me. That's
Okay, I'm sorry. It's just kind of
Can you hear me
broken
now?
up. All right, so let's keep moving on. So let's think through that. just how do we get to the point though, where we do have to ask them, like, do you want to get started? And I think that was something that I picked up on our conversation last week of just like, I don't know how to take it to that point, whether we're in a conversation with someone one-on-one or you're ending a presentation. And I like to think of the analogy, people say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? You've heard that in different situations. But I think we can go a little bit deeper than that, because if I just take a horse to a really big field and there's a water trough somewhere in there, and I take him to the gate and I let him in the gate and say, okay, go find the water, probably he'll eventually find the water, right? But if I want him to find the water faster and I know where the trough is, wouldn't it make more sense that I lead him to the trough and show him the water? And then if he wants to drink, that's him. Like, I can't stick his head in there and make him drink, right? But I can really lead him to the water. So how broad do we keep that? I've shared Juice Plus with them. And then I think that's where people get, like I did. I shared Juice Plus with them. I shared my story. I shared a video with them. And so they just kind of feel like, and I've heard people say this, team members coming on, if they want to order, then they'll reach out to me, or I'll talk to people about it. And if they want to, those that are interested want to order, that's great, because Juice Plus pretty much sells itself. And I'm like, it doesn't. Nothing sells itself. Like, there's always a process, no matter what we're doing. Very few things sell themselves. Now, Juice Plus being a very simple concept, right? Fruits and vegetables in a capsule, or in a plant powders, like, that's not a difficult conversation or concept to have or grasp. But what is more difficult is, like you said, Patty, it's a monthly commitment. You're paying something every month, finding a place for them to put it in their budget, really identifying that this product is going to give a solution to my problem. And that takes conversation, and that takes follow-up, and that takes continued, just keeping the conversation in front of them. And that's one of the things that social media really can help us with. And if you guys have not plugged into Jill Wagner's, she charges like $10 a month, and then she gives you something to post every day. Guys, like, it makes it so easy. And I don't do every single day that she suggests, but a lot of times I'll take it, and then maybe like the next day it applies more to what I'm doing, and so I make a post with that. But it takes that thought process of like, I don't know what to post out, and that keeps us forefront and active on Facebook so that our people do see that. And I want to give you a case in point of like how this really worked. So a couple of months ago, I talked to you guys about doing a block party, and we did a block party here at my house, and it was great. We had, there were, 20 different families that I went around and invited them. And then we probably had 9 of those families that actually came. And one of the girls at the table said, "Hey, Stacy, how's your tower garden growing?" She's a customer of mine and she sees it on Facebook. And I said, "Oh, it's great. After we eat, I'll take you in to see it." And the others were like, "What is a tower garden? What is this tower garden that you're talking about?" So after we ate, we took them inside and I showed it to them. I explained it to them. As we were walking back through the kitchen, I just very quickly mentioned, it's part of the company that I work for. We also have fruits and vegetables in a capsule, and I grabbed them off the counter, just the capsules. And I said, it's just an easy way to bridge the gap. And the cool thing is, a child in your life gets theirs for free. And some of them already knew kind of Juice Plus. One of the ladies, I had never talked to her. I had never met her before that night. And so I had no idea. Like, she didn't ask a lot of questions. She didn't seem like hugely interested. We didn't stop and talk about it much. It was just kind of in passing out the door, kind of, we discussed it. And I said, I'll be doing some events. I'll invite you guys and you can see how the tower progresses. And we just kind of moved on. But I was intentional about a couple of things. One is I started a Facebook group for our neighborhood, and I didn't know some of these people, but other people that I was friends with did know them. So I encouraged them to invite people into that Facebook group for our neighbors. And then I friended all of them. I make my post public so that everyone can see it, whether they're friends with me or not. And then I engage with others so that my post kind of shows up higher. And then just being consistent really makes a difference with that. And so out of the blue, last week, she sends me a message and says, hey, I've been looking into Juice Plus. I really want to get started with it. Tell me what I should start with. And so I was like, what in the world? I had no idea. I had zero idea. So I had posted things enough that she had felt like it met a need that she had. And I said, okay, can you come over this afternoon? Let's have you try the gummies, because she kind of wasn't sure, capsules or gummies. And she ended up ordering a quad and took some shake samples home with her. And I talked to her about joining as a partner, because she was already talking about her siblings and her kids, of sharing it with them. And so I said, we've got to the end of this month. We can move the order to you. Let's just get you started. We'll convene back together after Thanksgiving. And so you just never know where that connection is, but it's little things along the way of being intentional, of reaching out to people, showing them that you're about them, you're about service to them. And you never know whose need is strong enough that they're going to reach out to you and they're going to start the conversation. I had no idea she was even watching. And then, where that can lead. But I wanted to walk you guys through when, for one thing, I said, can you come over? I wanted to meet with her in person because I didn't have a lot of background of why she was really interested. I just wanted to get into a conversation with her. But I find meeting one-on-one with people, getting on the phone with them or on Zoom if they're not local, when we're getting to the point where they're asking questions about price, I don't want to just keep it on type or text message. So much is lost in that. And so I will say something like, let's hop on the phone, because I want to make sure that we really get you started with what's going to fit you guys best. And so usually they will say, okay, and then I'm going to get on the phone with them. And then from there, I can ask questions. Do they have kids? Do they have grandkids? Gummies, capsules? Are they looking for meal replacement? Do they already take an omega? I just kind of need to know, are there specific health issues they're concerned about that I can send other resources? I'm going to dig deeper with them at that point. And then I just use these words. Let me show you how this works. Okay, so I'm assuming that they're going to order, whether this is at an event that I'm doing. If I'm the speaker at an event, I'm doing a wellness presentation, I've already shared the information about Juice Plus. If you don't hand out order forms at the end of a presentation, you're really like kicking yourself in the shin. Like nobody would want to do that, right? But you're losing their interest is there. They showed up. You've just given them really valuable information. So you're just, without having the order forms there and talking them through that, in your mind, you may be, I don't know, it may sort of feel passive or like, well, I don't want to be aggressive. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want them to think I expect them something from them. I don't want them to come to this presentation and think that they have to order. Nobody has to order anything. People are going to spend their money on what they want to invest in. Okay, so you have to trust that. If they've come and the information you've just given them is of high value, which we know it is, you've just offered something that's going to be a simple solution to the problems that they have, which we know that's exactly what this is, then lead them to that. Don't just guide them to the pasture and say, go find it. Do you want them to go online? Do you want them to Google Juice Plus? Do you want them to order and their order gets sent to somebody else or buy it off of Amazon? No, you want to walk with them through that journey. So have the order form there and say, let me show you how this works. And then here's the verbiage I use. I say something similar to this, and you guys are going to be like, wait, slow down. Remember, you can come back and watch this, but I'll type it up and send it to you guys because it really is what I say all the time. So I'll say, let me show you how this works. You order directly from the company. I simply facilitate the order for you. So you're going to pay them and they're going to ship it right to your house. They're going to ship you 4 months at a time, and then you make 4 payments on that. So you're ordering directly from them. Does that make sense? And then if they say yes, then I just say, okay, here's what I recommend. And I've got the order form out and I say, this is what I take. I do the trio capsules and I do the omegas, and then I drink a shake most every day, but at least 5 times a week. And then I'll say, so the trio capsules for all adults, 100%. And do you like it better in capsules or gummies? So I'm asking questions with the assumption that they're going to order. Okay. And that's really key, because your confidence is going to guide them, right? If I'm like, now imagine if I said, you know, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want you to think that I'm expecting anything from you. If you want to order, totally up to you, but it's totally fine with me if you don't want to order it, because, you know, I know that Juice Plus doesn't fit into everyone's budget and it can kind of be expensive. And, you know, I know you've got a lot going on with your bills lately, and you said your car broke down. So I understand if now is not the right time. I completely understand that. And, you know, I just don't want you to think that I expect anything or I want you to be pushy. But here's the order form if you want to. If not, no big deal. Here's what I take. But if you wanted to just do the fruits and vegetables, it's only this amount. And maybe later on, you can add the shake, right? I've said those words, guys. Those things have come out of my mouth a long time ago. I don't do that anymore, because I'm going to confidently guide them to what I know is best for them. And you guys know, the more that they're taking, the more plants in their diet, the better experience they're going to get, the faster they're going to see results, the longer they take it, you know, the more benefits they're going to see over time. Like, we've got to guide them to the water trough. And so be confident in that conversation, guide them well, lead them to it, and just with the assumption of why wouldn't they? And then you let them decide. And then if I'm in a presentation format, I'll hand the order forms to them. Everyone fills them out as we go along. And I'll say, so I've already said, these are the things I recommend. And I'll say, you guys think about that. Look, you know, as you've got questions, come back to me. I'm going to go make some shakes. We're going to move into the kitchen. And then this is great if you are at a presentation to have other team members there, because they can engage in the conversations with them. And I will have people come in, they watch me make the shake. Now they get to taste it and they're like, oh, maybe I would like to try the shake because it's really great. Like, I loved the taste of that. And then they're like, okay, where is that on this? And then they'll ask you questions and you just guide them through ordering. This is what we need. If I'm on texting with someone where I just can't get on the phone with them, I'll say, I can send you a link or I can call you and I'll get your order in 5 minutes or less. This is what I need: your name, your address, your phone number, your email, the product that you want, and then your payment information. Now, if they send me their payment information, that's on them. I've had people send me copies of their card. And so I just take the information, I put it in, and I let them know, hey, I deleted your card, the image of your card off of my phone. And if they're comfortable with that, that's on them. I don't ask them to text that to me. I would rather call and get that from them. But if they do, then they're comfortable with that, then I'll take that information. But it is my job to confidently lead them forward. And so I hope that that verbiage helps you guys, but I would love to hear from you. Let's open it back up again for the last couple minutes here. What do you say when you're handing out an order form? Is there something that you have found that really helps people go ahead and place that order?
Stacy, Alita, sorry.
Good morning.
I say something like, some of you have asked me how this all works. So I'm going to hand out some order forms so you can all take a peek at what I take and help navigate what the right, absolute right program for you is.
Yes. And there's some wording in that, Alita, that is sort of the sales technique of FOMO, fear of missing out, and that other people are interested too. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
They're not thinking, oh, I'm the only crazy one that's like thinking this fruits and vegetables in a capsule thing is a good idea. They're hearing you say, some of you have already asked me about this, so I want to make sure I give you the information. That's excellent. Anyone else?
Hey, Stacy, I was just going to say, sometimes I'll use the verbiage like, well, being excited to share the order form and say, this is one of my favorite parts. This is so affordable. Look at this, it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. It's, like that kind of thing. Focusing on what it costs per day. versus like the monthly cost of it. I think that really helps people to feel like it is affordable, because they might spend $2 on a bottle of water or something, like it depending on what they're doing. So anyway, but yeah, I think trying to frame it as, this is a really great thing. Look at how cheap it is,
Yes. And Chris, that's so smart. And it's something that Jay Martin talked to us about, addressing the objections in the conversation before they ever even come up. So using the words affordable, I really appreciate that Juice Plus is an affordable option for so many families, especially when they give it for kids for free. I'm just putting that into conversation before we ever even get to the order form. So it's little things in, little verbiage along the way that makes that to where when you get to that point, they've already have in their mind. I also like, Chris, how you said giving the daily price. And that's something that I will tell people. If I gave you $2.67, and then I'll say, heck, I'll even give you $3. $3, go to Walmart, bring back to me as much produce as you possibly can. How much can we get? Like, really, what's the variety that we would be able to get? What's the quantity? What's the quality that we'll be able to get? Nothing even comes close to the value that I see in Juice Plus. Like, there's no way I could get that much nutrition. And so again, it's the confidence of, you're going to spend money somewhere. Why not spend it in something that invests in your health? And is there another way that we could do this less for less? Like, no, I don't see it. And I caught myself there. I said less expensive. Like, don't use that word, right? If you say expensive, that's an expense. Try to use the words like investment versus expense, affordable versus less expensive. Use positive words, and those things mean something. You don't want to plant a negative seed in somebody's mind. You want to plant the positive seed. So I love that word, Chris, affordable. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Well, I appreciate you all being on here today, and I'll type up some of that verbiage and just put it into our Voxer chat so that you guys will have it. And if you want reminders, text reminders, again, you can text DMO to 575-343-1234, and I'll send you a reminder and also the recording. And I just wanted to tell you thank you. I really appreciate each of you being on here. And somebody said they appreciated me, but seriously, if I got on here and there was only 2 people, I would be like, okay, well, let's talk, which we did at the beginning, and now it's grown to so many. And your consistency really fuels me well. So like I said, sometimes we'll show up for other people better than we will for ourselves, and you guys are here. So just know that I'm grateful for you and really appreciate you. So I will send out the recording. I hope you guys have a great week. End of the business month. Do you guys remember? Follow-up is really important. I've got some images I'll share with you. This is the week to go back to those conversations, wrap up those conversations, let them know, hey, I'd like to help you get started. I'm putting in some orders for some others and would love to get yours in as well. And it's going to be follow-up that really moves this end of this business month numbers forward to help you reach those goals. Make sure you're qualified. Don't leave money on the table. Not being qualified leaves money on the table. So I want you guys to get that. And so does your upline. I know they do. All right, you guys have a great week.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.